How's everybody today? Welcome back. I'm happy to be here. I hope that you are too. I am really excited to be where we are in the work right now, right? Because I feel like up to this point, like I've kind of made the case, right? About like, oh, what's Dale's personal trauma? Now that we're all intimately familiar, right? In terms of what's going to trigger Dale, that's been clearly defined, right? And so I feel like up to this point, we've kind of just been making that case, right? And also, you know, in terms of like setting our personal boundaries and just all of this background work of core values and how that translates into things that we do in our life to either protect that, reinstate that, right? Or be clear about that. And I feel like, okay, check, yeah, we've done that. And so now I feel like we're ready to actually start moving forward, right? We've kind of dealt with the past, you know, explained, you know, why I, like I said before in a previous video, why I have a PhD in shitstorm. Right? Anyone want to say I don't? Yeah, because, you know, like, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot that I've had to deal with in my life, and but I also don't want to be stuck there, right? Because there's a lot to life, and yes, we all come to the table with pains and dramas and heartaches, right? And stuff that we have to clear up in order to move forward. I feel like that's what we've been doing here, is cleaning up and clarifying and getting, you know, just really crystal clear on those things in order to be able to move forward. But now it's actually time to move forward. Because at some point, you have to decide for yourself whether you're going to be stuck in the past, which, as we've covered before, given the signatures of PTSD, I get the tie and the tether to the past that is inescapable for people with certain types of trauma, right? So we've covered that, we've clarified that. But still, at some point, even though with PTSD, things are always happening in the now, they didn't happen back then, they're still activated within us. But that doesn't mean we have to be a slave to it, right? And there are more and more techniques and approaches to liberating us from that tie, from that trauma. We can liberate ourselves from that. That's why I want to write the creative writing course. The problem is the portal, right? Because when we can reframe that in our mind, we have a shot at creating a stopgap in that trauma and those triggers between the now and when it happened back then, right? In that there is freedom. So that's where we're going, right? Because we don't want to just sit in here and bitch and moan and be sad. Although there is a time and place for that. We just don't want that to be our default setting, right? It should be optional when we revisit that and live in that headspace. At some point I want to do a video on moods, right? Because a mood is just essentially an emotion that gets stuck, right? And we have the ability to unstick ourselves from that tie. But that's not today. But know that your moods are often predictable. Right? if you know that watching the news is going to trigger you, or, calling some specific person is going to trigger you and put you in a mood, well, do a little forethought on that. That is optional. I don't watch the news anymore. When I do choose to be informed, I approach news organizations that I trust more than what we're often served here. Right? I feel like the BBC, some of the Canadian stations, offer. Well, that was actually one of the things I was so shocked about when I moved to America. It's the news and the sensationalized approach to news here is just so terrifying. I was like, oh, we gonna be okay, Jesus, and it just doesn't stop, and it just doesn't let up, and it's constant, and it's optional. I don't interact with main media news. I choose not to. I still want to be informed, but again, I'm very careful about where I consume information from. To always be as measured and as level-headed as I can in interacting with world events. Right? Because, there's only so much that we can do. And unless you're going to get politically activated and, actually start going and doing things, right, being constantly triggered by that is not a healthy place to be. So I choose not to interact with news in that way. And that for me has really, because with my dystonia, oh my gosh, stress is the number one trigger for that. And so, just for my own health, seriously, my own health, I had to stop doing real estate because that was just, oh my God, you ever been in a real estate transaction? Ha! Hoo! Ha! Ha! Stress! Right? It is very, 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 very stressful, right? And so I couldn't be in that work environment anymore because that was stressing me out and causing me moods, right? So be deliberate and choose your mental health first. Be around people that love and support you, right? That's why I'm so clear with my boundaries, right? I can't be around those triggering people. If you watch Fox News, I am not interested in being in your world because you're gonna have just a different reality, like full stop, a different reality than I do. Right? Because they talk about things over there that I don't think are loving or important. And that's fine if you want to go do that, go ahead. But again, on my little island of safety and on my love bus that I, travel the world in, I'm very, very, very particular about my personal boundaries and who gets on to Team Dale. Again, setting boundaries is not a judgment on others. It's something that we get to do to protect ourselves and our mental health and our families. It's not a judgment. I just can't do it, right? I just can't do it. So, we have done that work in terms of understanding our core values and how that shows up in the world and the risks that you're taking when you adopt a new set of principles like that, right? So check, check, check. We've done all that work. But again, at some point you have to decide what your day is going to look like. And are you going to be a person who is motivated by joy and love or angst and trauma, right? Because I'm hoping that's what we're going to do in here. I'm really concerned about your mental health, right? I'm really concerned about the state of the world that we're in right now, and that if we don't start bringing into this world a whole lot more love, that we're going to find ourselves in a very dangerous situation, human against human. The world is a tricky place right now. And I understand it's sometimes hard to choose or find joy. That's why Me 100 has always been such a lifesaver for me. It's my default go-to position when things feel off. What do you do? What centers you? often for me, like if I get hurt or I'm in a bad mood or, things like that, there's a couple things that I just automatically go to that I know, and trust me, this is up to you. If you search it, you will find it. What's your reset button for a bad mood? Do you have one? Right? I have a couple. Some of them I won't talk about on here. Yay me! Right? But we have to find those things for ourselves that center, recharge, and align us. Often jumping in water, for me, will reset my energy. Like, completely. It's so amazing. Like, if I'm in a bad mood or I've just had a bad day, when we lived at our place in Palm Springs here, I'd just go jump in the pool, and I was amazed. Probably smoke a little pot first. Jump in the pool. Ooh, whole new day. Good for me. But that works for me, right? That's one of my reset buttons, right? That's one of the things that helps me find joy, right? And so water works for me. Another reset is Me 100, like we talked about. And I'm sorry I got a little long-winded on that video. Speaking of long-winded, oh my God. Like my videos, like I need to stop talking at some point. My videos just keep getting longer and longer. But the funny thing is, like when I come in here, I literally, when I'm done with, this whole thing, I have no idea whether it's been 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or like on Wednesday when it was 44 minutes. I'm like, how is that possible that I can just talk for that long? And as I finally came to the realization yesterday that, I'm just a teacher without a classroom. So this is what I got, right? Because being in that place as I was, as the director of education for Keller Williams, or teaching and mentoring agents, or, even teaching dance, as I did a lot in my life, in order to, because ballet companies are seasonal, right? And so like in the off season, you had to do something. So I would usually teach and do things like that. So, I've just always been a teacher. And so that was like really good clarity that I got yesterday on that. Because remember in the beginning, like when we first started this whole thing, I'm like, where am I going? Where am I heading? What am I doing? What do I want in my life? So I think that aha that I had, that I'm a teacher without a classroom right now. Well, I mean, I have you. All of you in my phone there somewhere where right? Because we were talking about some other classes that me and some other shamanic practitioners were taking. And just in that world of reverence and spirit, it often gets a little dry. I'm like, can we get some bitches up in the front of the room who will make me laugh? Because it gets to feeling awfully a lot like church, right? And anyhow, I would love to someday fill that position of being not only a shamanic practitioner, but a shamanic teacher that's also entertaining, right? I feel like there's a job there for me. I feel like there's a perfect job for me there somewhere in the future. And I'm so grateful that I came to that realization yesterday, right? But it's having the clear mind to see that that's a thing, right? And not be living in the world of constantly being triggered and angry and angsty, right? Because it's so hard to stay positive and upbeat sometimes. And it's not our fault. Our brains are naturally wired to pay more attention to the negative in our lives than the positive. They simply are. It's a survival skill that we adopted through evolution, if you believe in such a thing. Sorry, couldn't resist. It's something we evolved with as humans in our brains, because when there is a predator around, your brain needs to put that in the place of priority, prioritize that danger over, say, anything else. food, sex, whatever, right? It has to prioritize that danger in order to stay alive. So our brains automatically raise up the negative so that we're clearly aware of it. Because like this that we got set up right now is crazy. We're not sitting here looking at nature. We are nature. But we have adopted this very unnatural way of living that like neuters out all the nature. Right? It's all very prepackaged, right? So, it's not necessarily our fault that we tend to focus on the negative. But what we're doing in here, hopefully, is that you have options to do other things. That won't change. I mean, it hasn't changed for me as much as I try. I still struggle with frustration, and I probably will my entire life. That's why it was so important to me to understand the purpose of frustration, because once I discovered that, I'm like, oh, well, I'm not frustrated that I'm frustrated. Right? I'm no longer frustrated that I'm frustrated because I understand the purpose of frustration, which is to say from the universe, child, you have done your work. Step off the gas, step back, and just let God do his thing, right? Because we have to be in constant co-creation with Creator, right? So, going back to our moods, right, and things that elevate us, things that we can focus on, and things that we don't want to focus on, right? At some point, we need to decide for ourselves our tool kit, right? What's your toolkit? What do you have in your toolkit, right? Again, jumping in water really helps for me to reset myself, right? Help me find joy, get back to joy, because that's always my North Star, right? My North Star is joy, and I always focus on that, where I'm going, joy, because within joy is always love, right? But the funnest kind of love. And I want to be filled with that, and I want to share that. I want to be of that. I don't want to be of angst and drama and trauma, right? Sure, we have to deal with it in order to alleviate our minds, to be able to think clearly, make better decisions, and move forward, right? Because if you haven't taken out the trash, honey, it's like you got to do that work. And that's what we've been doing up here, I think, for the last 3 months. But again, I'm ready to move forward. I am ready to radically affirm love and what we want. And that needs to be part of our daily practice, right? It doesn't mean that we shy away from the density of the moment that we're in, how crazy the world is right now, right? The fact that Russia just upped the ante a whole bunch on Ukraine this morning, with further attacks, assaults coming on to their shores. Like, these people, I mean, it's so shocking. But let's look at it. Why is this perfect? Man, again, that's an exercise you often have to sit with and really work with for a while. To me, why Russia attacking Ukraine, well, horrific. If I'm trying to live on why is this perfect, let me stay in curiosity, let me understand more about this, right? For me, it has been a teacher. It has been a teacher in that when some strong man or other, very judgmental organization attacks in that manner of, oh, I deserve that, I will just take it, right? That is leading from their own version of right and wrong that we clearly can't understand, right? When that happens now against the backdrop of love that we've all been working so hard to set up, right? For the past 2 decades, I feel like we've really moved that needle on what is acceptable between humans and what is not. I mean, just slut shaming as an instance. I mean, that was not even a term, 20 years ago. But now it is grossly inappropriate to slut shame someone for enjoying sex. People need to be allowed that, right? We're getting away from your sons are sinners and your daughters are whores. We're getting away from that. And I know too many of us were raised with that, and it needs to die. So we've been working really hard, right, over the past 2 decades to elevate the love. Let people enjoy their lives. Let them do what they need to do in order to fulfill their own personal assignment this go round in this lifetime. To let them have the freedom of expression of who they are and what they need to do in this lifetime to be whole within themselves. So against the backdrop of that kind of radical love, it seems ridiculous that these, punitive males will go in and just attack. There's a lesson there. That's not nothing. Let's pay attention to that. Let me move that example a little bit further. Yesterday, so there's this Facebook page. It's called Palm Springs Daddies. Am I a daddy? I don't know. I've been working on my daddy walk. Let me see if I got it. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Did I do it? Did I win? No. That's the problem. Like, I'm so gay that when I try and do something more butch, it actually makes me look more gay. Wait, maybe this will help. No kidding. Can you imagine what I was like as a child? Like, my mom would just be like horrified. And she'd be like, James, he's doing it again. I didn't really understand what it was. Anyhow, sorry for the aside. So yeah, I posted on Palm Springs Daddies, which is a page for gay men, mostly in their 50s and 60s. And anyhow, I just posted that I was looking for a job, but I posted a picture of myself that was pretty much just straight up a thirst trap, right? Like, let's call a thing a thing. And, but I'm not afraid to, clearly, use what God gave me in order to get where I want to or need to go. Like, I have no problem with that, and I understand its privilege. I do. So, there was a young queen on that page who attacked me like viciously for putting that picture with the request for any leads on a job. And he went off. He couldn't believe that I would be such human trash as to post a thirst trap along with looking for work, right? And anyhow, it was interesting because I read his energy signature first. This is a person who's clearly not only unhappy but hurting. And what I did clearly triggered him in some way. And, I don't want to say how he feels, but clearly what I was doing was very upsetting to him. I could speculate why, but I will keep that to myself. Anyhow, I looked at the energy signature of this person who was attacking me, and because it was so ridiculous and so non-threatening, quite frankly, I just moved right into love, right? Because I had options. I had a stopgap between what he did and my reaction, right? And in that stopgap, I said to myself, do you want to retaliate, or do you want to handle this in a different way? Because I ultimately decided to handle it in a different way, and it called out his ridiculousness even more. I didn't retaliate, I responded with love. And I said, sweetie, it's okay. And whoever hurt you, I'm sorry. You're clearly having an issue over this. I don't understand what it is, but if you'd like to have a conversation over why this is my choice to do this in order to put me in front of like-minded individuals, I'm open to that conversation, right? But you're not going to just randomly attack me. So if you'd like to have that conversation, let me know. I hope you're well, right? Calm, measured, loving, but at the same time, nobody's doormat. By responding to aggression, right, and ridiculousness like that from that place, suddenly they look more irrational, right? And because it would be different if I responded with the same energy and just attacked him back, right? And I'd be rah, 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 rah. Then we'd be equals. But I didn't step into that, right? I let him just continue to attack me while trying to love him, while still being nobody's doormat. So that also translates to the world events as I see them right now. It's horrific what is happening. I cannot believe that in 2022, a country would just go and feel justified in killing its neighbors' citizens and claiming a right to their land. That's just not the world we live in anymore. So, Russia doing this in the backdrop of the current world vibe, which is no longer being run by the strong man. I mean, they're gonna still keep at it, still try and hold on to power, but they feel that it's slipping, right? I think we can all sense that it's slipping, that we're just moving into a way to be more radically kind to one another. Again, doesn't mean you're anybody's doormat, right? Because it's tough where we are right now. And I'm not saying we shy away from, hide our head in the sand, that we do anything like that. We need to feel this moment. We need to lean into the gravity of what's going on, but not be triggered by it. It's so tricky, I know. And that's why, remember our first exercise? To wrap ourselves up in our own energetic bands and protect ourselves and be, right, who we need to be in the world. And not be a default set of reactions to something that happens. But to be able to choose, all right, this guy's attacking me. How do I want to handle this, right? Because to bring more love in the world and show that guy some kindness even when he's being ridiculous and inappropriate, right? Maybe he'll learn, maybe he won't, I don't know. It doesn't matter, because it's not about him. It's about me being proud of myself at the end of the day and not lowering myself to his level. It was just silliness. So leaning into the moment that we're in right now, we have to feel it. I mean, I can't help but feel it. I don't know how you all feel, but the vibration of the planet is something I feel rooted to on a daily basis. And that's even increased with my shamanic work. as a shamanic practitioner, we are very, very, very attuned to energy, right? That's the world in which we work, right? We are doctors of the soul. And the soul isn't something that you can open up the body and find. So what is it? It clearly animates us. What is the soul? It is energy work, right? And it's understanding, getting into that level of how things operate where we live. So I can't help but feel moved when the vibration of the planet shifts. It is very, very, very troubling. But again, we don't have to default to being terrorized, because at some level that's what they want, right? We do not have to live in fear. We can continue to work on our little love bus that we're going to drive the world in, right? And we're going to work on setting our boundaries and figuring out what that is, right? Because we're creating a safe space for us to live our own lives in, right? So that we can feel protected and whole, regardless of what else is going on around the world. And yeah, it's really sad. It's really sad what we've done to this planet. It's really sad what we've done with society. We could be doing so much better. But again, spiritually speaking, a lot of us are still stuck 2,000 years ago. But there are other groups that aren't. And we need to talk about that more. We need to talk about the worlds that have continued to evolve spiritually, that haven't taken a 2,000-year stop. Oh, well, we got the word of God. I guess we're good. Because there are other groups, there are other places that you can go to for more information that will blow your mind. I tell you, I mean, when I'm around some of these shamanic practitioners and see what they're doing on an energetic level that you can't understand, but that you can clearly see with your own eyes, that will change your mind on what is energy work and what is spirituality. So, just know that those are available to you if you want to go and seek them out. There are a lot of different ways to approach spirituality, and anytime you enter into an organization that is telling you what to believe, I would see that as a red flag. True love doesn't make you feel bad or weird. It just lifts you up. And if that's not what you're being served, pay attention. Okay? Again, we need to start coming in here and radically affirming the world that we want, right? We need to start claiming it, what we want. And that's where we are in this process, in my process of this work. We have dealt with the past. We're not going to be there anymore, okay? That is a promise I'm making to you right here, right now. We have dealt with it. Doesn't mean it won't come up. Because again, if we're going to create the new earth, there's a lot of things in the past there that need to shift and change. And we will have to take that on, but that's not where we live. Where we live and where we're going is good stuff, right? And it's finding and holding on to those good things in your life and let them lead the charge. Not our brain, which is automatically going to default to lifting up the negative things because you need to pay attention to them in order to survive. The good things, right? I have so many good things in my life. I also have a lot of bad things in my life. So I get to choose, right? What side of Dale do I want to live on today? And y'all are like, there's just two? Right? And so I can choose to come in here and be triggered and angsty and angry and whatever else. Or we can focus on where we're going and what we want. I want to be a writer. I'm going to start saying that every single day. I want to be a writer. I really want this. I really want this. So if I have to come in here and speak it into existence every day, I will. Because I feel like not only do I have something to say, clearly, bitch, shut up already. I won't, right? Because I have dedicated my life to thinking and learning. And so I want to be able to share those discoveries with people because they've made my life so much better. Right? Things that really work. Answers and solutions that I wasn't able to find at a Western medicine doctor. Right? As I just continued to get more and more messed up and just, man. Oh, my poor brain, what it's been through. Just, So I can focus on the bad things, or I can come in here and lean into gratitude. But part of leaning into gratitude is leaning into others, right? Leaning into the needs of others. I love that saying. If you want to make your day, make someone else's. That's a win-win. That's where you change your energy and shift from this to this, right? And when you start to find that energetic care for others, it will light you up. It will. I've been having so much fun with this energy work, right? It was even like when that kid was attacking me online, right? I could have gotten back into my ego. I could have lashed out, but I didn't. And again, I don't know, try this. I don't know if it works for you or not, or if I'm just, found some weird thing for me. But when I put my heart on my heart center, right? And I amp up the love, right? When I focus that love on myself, it's a little pick-me-up, whatever, but it's not the same energy signature as when I focus that love on someone else. It's like it boomerangs back through the other person and right back at me. What was that? Right back at me. And it's joy, right? My North Star, the thing I'm always going to chase the most, right? In that process and on that journey, we're going to be radically affirming the things that we want and the world that we want to live in. What do you want? Just say a couple words off the top of your head. Peace, joy, celebration, respect, right? Even saying those words affects the air around you and changes that energy signature of the air around you. Right? That's why music's so powerful. Same thing. So, saying what we want. I want to be a writer. I really want this for myself. I'm so stoked about my books. We're almost there. We're almost there, baby. I got my website up and running. It'll be available to start taking pre-orders of the book. And so I should have that here. If I get this done by the time I post this video, I don't think I'll get it done today, but there'll be a big announcement, whatever. You can finally start pre-ordering the books. The website will be daleallenrouse.com, and there's a books tab there that you can click on. I don't have the payment option set up yet at the time of recording this, but it's in process, and probably by tomorrow, the next day, you should be able to do that. So anyhow, we have the artwork for the cover of that, and I'm excited to share that with you. Oh my gosh, the artist, she just nailed it. So that's all really exciting, and it's all happening, right? I think probably within the next 2 months, I'll actually be able to publish that book. I'm so excited. Anyhow, and I hope that you enjoy the journey too, because what it does is it puts everything that we've been talking about up here into a story that someone can clearly follow. Anyways, that's enough for me today. I just wanted to come in here and talk about good things, right? Because we've been talking about tough things for a while. And I think it's time to put those things to bed, right? It's time to light ourselves back up, right? And to live from a place that chases that North Star of joy. That's what I want. That's what I want for you, and that's what I want for me. That's what I want for the world, right? So anyhow, I hope you're doing well, and I will talk to you next time. Stay awesome, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.